You?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. The start of some very eventful weeks for us. End of July, you lead into reporting season. We've already had a couple of results out, some interesting numbers.
Yeah, Rio reported Wednesday, FMG numbers out today. And then we had the Aussie CPI number out earlier this week and some Fed numbers as well.
Yeah, certainly a lot of data. Rio's results, it was a beat basically across the board in every sort of matrix or measure there. Stocks obviously put on about $8, so interesting move.
Yeah, their copper numbers looked quite incredible. Bit of an increase in cost in iron ore, and we're seeing the same thing in Fortescue out this morning. I think they come out and said their guidance was up around 6% on costs.
Yep.
And then first time they've cracked the 200 million tons in production as well. So pretty solid there.
Big number for sure. And we had CPI out middle of the week, and it was a little bit of a miss for the number, which is obviously good for rates.
Yeah, it eased a bit, 3.8 versus 4% expected. And then trimmed mean was a little bit less, 3.6. So moving in the right direction, but maybe not quite enough to get a rate cut on the table just yet.
Yeah, I think it maybe just keeps the RBA on hold. Bearing in mind we do have that fuel excise finishing, the discount finishing today. So when that kicks back in, there might be a little bit of CPI pressure as well from that 20 odd cents it adds back in.
And oil this month as well, like it's kicked back up. I think it's traded in a $15 range just this week. So yeah, very, very wild.
Yeah, it's interesting. Our energy stocks haven't really run super hard with that oil price kicking back up, and the amount of uncertainty about what Trump wants to do in the Middle East right now. I think Woodside's a bit subdued, really.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Right, mate. Well, let's get into you at a covered call idea you wanted to present.
Yep, I'll just bring up my screen here. So the idea I'm going to talk about is on NAB, but it's something you could look at across the banking space in general. And it was really on the back of this large move up we've seen since the lows in June. NAB's already up around 16%. So there's a lot of premium in the calls, in the upside in the stock, and more broadly in the sector. They've also got some reporting volatility priced into the options as well. So you are getting paid pretty well to look at a trade like this. So what I looked at was selling a 43.50 call, and you're receiving around 50 cents worth of premium for that option. And that was out to the 20th of August. So just over a 1% return. And it actually leaves you around 3.5% of upside still on the trade if they do continue to run. So if at the 20th of August, if NAB's at 43.50, you're going to pick up a little bit of premium, but you've also picked up about 20% on the stock from the lows in June. So I think it's something worth looking at, whether you do it today or the next few weeks as they continue to go higher. Yeah, I quite like it.
Yeah, no, sounds good, and certainly some pretty attractive premium. It is hard to see a lot more upside in the banks because I just can't see where earnings growth will come from. We're such a mature banking market now, so anyone growing outside of the sector mean is going to be doing very well. So having covered calls in the banks, great idea. CBA due to report, I think 2 weeks from now, so that'll be a big guide for the sector, but definitely covered calls on the other three banks looks very attractive.
Yeah, NAB actually had a brief out yesterday as well and just flagged that their mortgage growth for the June quarter was down about 15%. And that's going to be widespread across the banks, and it's probably going to be something similar for the next quarter. So obviously the impact from the budget there.
Yeah, definitely. Right. I had an idea which I put out to a few clients on Wednesday, and it was in the CAR group, which is actually the owner of Car Sales, the website there, and a few other sort of automotive vehicle websites for vehicle sales. They're trading around 26.40 the stock at the moment, and the analyst target that we've got is basically over $33. So they're quite a big discount to the current target price, and premiums are pretty attractive for someone who wants to sell a cash covered put. So the trade I looked at was selling a 25.50 put out to the 20th of August and trying to get around 50 cents of premium. So we could probably sell 40 odd contracts there, just over that $100,000 of exposure. And obviously, if you can pick up the stock at 25.50, fantastic. If not, picking up 50 cents a premium on the 40 contracts, it's about $2,000 in cash, would be a very attractive proposition. So selling 25.50 puts for August in car sales, I think is a great strategy. And look, it's a stock that I think is worth owning. It's showing some good growth in the listing numbers, and as I said, analyst targets are definitely pretty good with it. And it's one of those things, while automotive sales may slow a little bit, that actually means it's better for car sales because vehicles stay listed online longer. They charge an ongoing fee. So a slowing auto market generally means more listings for these websites. So it can actually be very positive. So if you're interested in looking at that, the 25.50 put I think is a great one to sell for August.
It's a good one to diversify a lot of typical Aussie portfolios as well, H. Got nothing to do with the mining or banking sector, so good one to look at. And I think the dividend yield's around 3% on it as well, which surprised me a little bit. It's typically seen as more of a growth stock, but it does pay its way on that side as well.
Yeah, definitely. I did look at that dividend. I thought that wasn't actually too unattractive for a sort of a tech-based type of stock. So, definitely something you could hold if you had to. Writing covered calls. If you do pick the stock up, I think it'll be pretty solid premiums as well. So, definitely worth looking at for someone who wants to take on that exposure. I'm expecting a pretty strong Friday. We've got a strong lead from the US overnight, so looking like our market will probably kick back over that sort of up towards that 9,000 level again for the index.
Yeah, well, really strong lead. I think tech was up 2.8% or so. It looks like we're going to be up around 100 points. I think BHP's up around $61, about 3.5%. So it should be a pretty solid day.
Yeah, very strong lead. Right, mate. Well, let's chat next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for that, mate. Done. All good, mate.